All right, today we're diving into a really revolutionary way of looking at gardening. It's a complete, systematic approach called the HBNF Biological Operating System, and it's entirely animal-free. Now, HBNF stands for a few things: heredity, biocompleteness, natural balance, and frugality. But honestly, it's more than just a fancy name. It's a total shift in how we think about our soil, our plants, and what our job as growers really is. And this one idea right here, this is the absolute key to the whole thing. Forget about complicated or expensive imported stuff. This system makes the case that a simple, humble, local waste product, the potato, has all the energy we need to unlock a completely new level of health and strength in our gardens.
Okay, so let's get into it. The first thing to really grasp is the core philosophy. It's all about adapting to where you are, to your local environment, and learning to listen to what your own soil is telling you. You know, a lot of natural farming methods that we see are built on what's called a rice culture. And that makes sense because that's the main staple crop in the East where many of these ideas originated. But HBNF makes a really simple but kind of profound switch to a potato culture. Why? Well, because potato starch is basically the native language of the fungi in Western soils. It's the fuel they evolved with, the food they recognize, and that means you get a much stronger, healthier biological response.
And this pyramid, this is our roadmap. This perfectly shows our goal. See, we're not just trying to keep plants alive, we're actively guiding them up these 4 levels of health. Each level builds on the one before it, and by the time a plant gets to the very top, it has developed its own complete, natural immunity to pests and diseases. No sprays, no chemicals needed.
So, let's move on to the most important first step. This is where all that philosophy turns into immediate, practical action. The revolution really starts right here, in your soil.
Okay, so picture this. You're looking at a patch of lawn, or maybe a weedy plot, maybe the ground is compacted and hard as a rock, and you want to start a garden, like right now. But the thought of all that backbreaking digging, it's just too much. So how is it even possible?
Well, the answer is this amazing brew called Jadam Microbial Solution, or JMS. And JDAM, it's a Korean acronym that basically means farmers should be like nature. I want you to think of JMS as liquid tillage. Instead of physically breaking up the soil with a spade, you drench it with this massive army of microbes. They do the work for you, digesting the weeds and old roots right where they are, turning all that trash into precious humus and creating a beautiful soil structure.
And what's really amazing is just how ridiculously simple this is. Look at the 4 parts. You've got the fuel from just one potato. You've got the minerals from a little bit of sea salt. You get your starter culture, the inoculant, from a scoop of local leaf mold. And then you just let it bloom. With just these basic things, you can brew trillions of powerful soil-building microbes. It's a soil prepping engine that costs you almost nothing.
So, once your soil is prepped and it's buzzing with life, the next step in our curriculum is to fuel it. And this is where we completely step away from animal inputs and learn how to build a powerful, totally veganic nutrient engine.
Yeah, so instead of relying on the usual suspects like manure or fish fertilizer, this entire system is powered by 4 homemade solutions you see right here. You've got Potato Lab, a vegan PNSB, soybean amino acid, and an algal WCA. Each one has a very precise job, and together they provide literally everything a plant could ever need.
First up is potato lactic acid bacteria, or LAB. The best way to think of this is as your soil's emergency services. You culture it from the microbes living right on potato skins using a simple salt fermentation. It's a fantastic soil conditioner, it keeps diseases suppressed, and helps unlock nutrients that are already there. Next, we've got the nitrogen engine. And this is where things get really cool. We can actually brew our own liquid nitrogen fertilizer using something called purple non-sulfur bacteria, or PNSB. These incredible little microbes literally pull nitrogen straight out of the air and turn it into a form that your plants can eat. This completely replaces the need for any fish-based fertilizers.
And that really highlights this key shift away from things like fish amino acid, or FAA. I mean, it's effective for sure, but it can come with risks like heavy metals, not to mention that smell. The veganic alternative, soybean amino acid, gives you that exact same powerful growth fuel, the amino acids for building strong leaves and stems, but it's just cleaner, way more stable, and trust me, it smells a whole lot better.
And finally, calcium. Calcium is absolutely critical for strong cell walls and for preventing annoying things like blossom end rot. So here, we swap out the typical eggshells for calcified seaweed. When you dissolve it in vinegar, it creates this incredibly bioavailable calcium source that's perfect for building strong plants and getting great fruit. Okay, so let's take this to the next level. Let's see how all of this comes together to build a genuine physical shield for your plants, pushing them into that higher state of health and natural immunity we talked about. This brings us all the way up to level 3 on our health pyramid, the lipid shield. When a plant is truly healthy, when it has extra energy to spare, it stores it as fats. And this creates a beautiful, waxy, glossy sheen on its leaves. This isn't just for looks, it is literal armor. It causes water droplets and the fungal spores they might be carrying to beat up and roll right off. And we can actually encourage the plant to build this shield by feeding it the exact building blocks it needs to do it. There's a unique solution made from fermented hemp seeds, which are just packed with those healthy fatty acids. You're basically giving the plant the raw material it needs to construct its own waterproof, disease-resistant armor.
Now, let's zoom out. Let's zoom way out, because this system is about so much more than just one plant or just one season. It's really about a powerful, community-focused idea.
The system encourages you to start seeing your garden not just as a place to grow food, but as a bank, an indigenous microorganism bank, or IMOB for short. You become the steward of your local soil life, preserving and cultivating the unique microbes that are perfectly adapted to your specific little corner of the world.
And just like a real bank, every single deposit you make is meticulously tracked. By labeling where and when you collected your microbes, you're creating a provenance, a historical record of the genetic lineage of your soil's biology. These aren't just jars of microbes anymore. They are documented biological assets.
And this, right here, this is the ultimate goal. You're not just brewing some fertilizer for this season's tomatoes. You are stewarding an intergenerational biological legacy that can be shared, strengthening the resilience of your entire community's gardens for years and years to come.
Which brings us to this final thought. This system is really a set of tools that lets you discover, cultivate, and preserve the unique life that's already right there, under your feet. The real question is, what ancient, resilient, and powerful biological legacy is just waiting to be woken up in your soil?